Okay, so welcome, Archie, to the Zoom room again for another live session in the Art of Letting Go program. So let's dive into our daily quote as usual. Gives us a nice intro into the lesson for today, which is another review lesson. So let me share my screen with you. Just give me a moment to get the text sorted. And if I can ask you to read the lesson, that'd be great. Sorry, read the quote.
Yeah, it hasn't appeared.
All right, so there we go. Share my screen with you. I can get to that button, that would be good. There we go. All right, so if you can read that quote from Winston Churchill.
Yeah. So, to every person, there comes in their lifetime that special moment when they are figuratively tapped on the shoulder and offered a chance to do a very special thing, unique to them and fitted to their talents. What a tragedy if that moment finds them unprepared or unqualified for that which would be their finest hour.
Yeah, lovely quote,
Mm.
which
Yeah.
I've translated because originally it was just in the masculine, it was to every man.
Yeah.
But that's pretty restrictive, really. So it applies to men and women.
Mm.
So an interesting guy, Churchill, actually, because he found his destiny. There was no doubt that he was inspired
Mm.
by the Holy Spirit
Mm.
to do what he did. You know, the nation, the world needed someone like him, exactly. You know that for that time, and he stepped up and he fulfilled his destiny. And without that, who knows? You know what the outcome might have been. The previous prime minister, what was his name, Chamberlain, wanted to
Mm.
just give in and say, okay, well, we'll just kind of negotiate with this megalomaniac
Yeah.
who's completely irrational and unreasonable. And Churchill was like, no, you can't negotiate with a psychopath. You
Yeah.
know, the only option is you have to fight.
Yeah.
And I think he was correct. You know, it's an interesting spiritual dilemma, actually, because someone has once said to me, we discussed it, and it said, so so what about World War II? You know, is that would you say that was a justified war, given the insane evil of the Nazis? That like, well, what would you have done
Mm.
in that situation? And I can't really see another way. You know, would forgiveness have worked with Hitler? Probably not. You know, he's a megalomaniac. He's a psycho.
Mm.
There's no way he's gonna. He's like, okay, so you're gonna do the sort of appeasement. That was what Chamberlain's policy was called. That's not going to work with a guy like that. He's
Mm.
just gonna, you give him an inch, he's gonna take it all. So sometimes you have to take a stand, and I guess that's what Churchill realized. He said, look, you've got to take a stand. We have to fight, and we have to find courage
Mm.
in this darkest hour. And he certainly galvanized the whole nation. There was
Mm.
there was no doubt that people found something deeper, and from an energetic point of view, if a whole population finds that higher frequency of courage, then energetically they're in a much more powerful place, right? When you look at the
Yeah.
map of consciousness, if they all, I think at that time, probably Britain was higher than ever on the scale of consciousness because he picked everyone up from whatever their trivial life issues were. And he said, we have a common enemy to face, and we need to draw on our courage and our resilience, and that's a very positive energy.
Mm.
And you saw that people came together, and unfortunately, it doesn't last after a war typically because that's the enemy that unites you. But during that time, there was a much higher vibrational frequency, let's say, in Britain especially, and that's why they won. That's ultimately why the war was won,
Mm.
because that was needed. You had to counter the low vibrational energy of the Nazis sitting down here in hatred and with a high vibrational frequency on a mass scale. And it
Mm.
needed a leader to galvanize that.
Mm.
So it was a spiritual war, really, between the light and the dark, possibly the most stark one. Most wars are very mixed. It's just like fighting over territory or two egos having a go. But World War II was really a light versus dark scenario, very clearly, and fortunately the light won. Well, it has to eventually, because the darkness can't really face that. The true power of the light will always overcome it, but it does take people willing to stand up and be counted and say,
Mm.
yeah, okay, I'm going to be the one, potentially take the risk, lay down my life, and so on. And obviously many people did do that, but they were inspired to do that by his example. The appeasement, no, he's too powerful, we can't fight him. That was all lower frequency energy.
Mm.
That wasn't really what was required in that situation. So yeah, that's my answer to that question. I think in that situation, I can't see any other way that you could have approached it. What they should have done, if you really want to track it back 20 years before that, is that the Treaty of Versailles, they should not have created such a punitive settlement,
Mm.
because that was what created the circumstances for someone like Hitler to come to power.
Exactly.
So in hindsight,
Yeah.
yeah, if they'd forgiven then it wouldn't have happened, right? But given that they'd done that, and then they'd created the situation for a tyrant like him to come to power, it's like, okay, well, we can't go back and fix it now. So, there's only one option. But it came about because of a lack of forgiveness. So
Mm.
forgiveness ultimately would have averted the whole situation.
Mm.
So, I guess if you look at it from that perspective, then yes, forgiveness would have worked.
Mm.
But given the mistake that had been made, it then was like, well, how do you fix that?
Yeah.
Except by fighting against it. Unfortunately, they did learn. They didn't do the same thing after World War II. The Marshall Plan was much more generous and lenient to Germany, because they realized it's like, okay, we're going to do the same thing again. No, that wasn't very smart. So we now we need to help them to uh, reestablish some kind of normal society, and you know take their place as a part of Europe and a part of the world, which is what happened. Um, so they did learn from the earlier
Yeah.
mistake in
But
Treaty of
also
Versailles.
part of it was the fact that Germany was quite advanced in technology at that time too. And I think, kind of particularly, I mean, lots of Nazis that actually ended up going to the US. And
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
so
I mean,
from a
they
moral
didn't
point of
necessarily want to
view,
create another
yeah,
enemy. They'd beaten them, but if
yeah.
you
But it's quite interesting though. I look at that and I think, well, okay, you vilify the Nazis, but then at the same time, you then, kind of say, okay, well, it's okay though, but we'll let them come into the US because they've got technology that we want.
yeah,
So
so,
it's quite, it's a
yeah,
bit of a double standard there in terms of,
no doubt,
you
yeah,
know,
exactly.
yeah,
Because it's like these guys could be useful for us, even though they
yeah,
did these atrocious
e-
experiments on human beings and behind the death
exactly,
camps. I
exactly.
mean, just but
Yes,
no, they've got good tech.
yes. Yeah.
So we need that.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. That's what I mean. It's like, you kind of look at it from that point of view. And also, when I look at it from the Indian perspective, Churchill was someone who isn't really highly regarded in India because India had been wanting to be independent from the 1930s.
Mm,
And, Churchill knew that he needed the Indian manpower in terms of fighting World War II as well. And he was also very disparaging of Mahatma Gandhi when he visited London as well,
mm.
in the 1930s, because he came, in his, sort of, kind of minimal clothing with sandals and things like that. So anyway, that's just aside. But it's, again, it's just like there's no black and white with anything. It's
Well,
always,
these characters, he wasn't
always
perfect by
nuance.
any means. He wasn't,
Yeah.
Jesus. He wasn't
No,
perfectly enlightened,
not at all. Not
but
at all. But
he
yeah,
obviously, felt a calling. There was
yeah,
some
yeah,
inspiration, and he found his destiny, and he played his part.
yeah,
And this unfolding drama of light versus dark,
mm,
and can only be grateful that he did, because
mm,
like, who knows what if the Nazis had
yeah,
won,
yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I
the
agree.
world would have been, who
Yeah,
knows. I mean, I doubt that kind of oppression could have lasted, but you don't know.
mm,
The dark
yeah,
ages lasted for 1,000 years, so who
yeah,
knows.
yeah,
It was a very difficult time, and we just fairly recently, 5 years ago, went through another dark time, which COVID-19
yeah,
and the reaction by worldly authorities to the so-called pandemic
mm,
caused billions of people to suffer,
yeah,
apparently unnecessary ways.
yeah.
There's another crisis, not as extreme as World War II,
No,
but nevertheless, it caused a
mm,
lot of suffering.
yeah,
All darkness and the suffering it causes is really the call to awaken
yeah,
to the light of what we call pure formless awareness that lies dormant within us. And this is the true purpose of the COVID-19 pandemic and any other adversity you may face in life, to
mm,
awaken you and millions of other people
mm,
to their true power as extensions of the loving presence
yeah,
of pure formless awareness that is the ultimate power in the universe.
yeah,
And so if you look at the world now rationally, it's in something of a crisis. There's
mm,
the normal stuff going on, the destruction of the natural environment, pollution, global warming, COVID-19 pandemic, vaccinations. We don't yet know what those are going to do
yeah,
because they weren't properly clinically trialed, so we have no idea, what the long-term effects are.
yeah,
Increasing levels of government control, soaring fuel prices, rising cost of living, threats of total annihilation through
yeah,
nuclear war. So wars. It's interesting because I sent this out last year, and then it was like, oh, it's a war in Ukraine still going on, and then it was Israel. Now it's Iran. It's like, okay, we just
yeah.
change the word. It's the same thing. Another year, same shit going
Yeah,
on.
and you also had Afghanistan and Iraq as well,
Yeah, I mean,
like all of
not
that.
just
Yeah,
it's
it's
ongoing. The world's
yeah,
always in some kind of crisis, and then
yes,
you've got AI, Elon Musk saying it's a fundamental risk to the existence of human civilization. Yeah. Okay. Well, it doesn't look very good.
mm,
But that's just the rational lens.
mm,
The truth is, it's an opportunity to break through into a new level of awareness. All these difficulties and problems are forgiveness opportunities for individuals and humanity as a whole
mm,
to wake up to this transcendent awareness we call love,
yeah,
that the Holy Spirit is just reminding us of. Because it's really obvious, it should be obvious to anyone with even a half open mind that the ego, which is just a belief in separation, has miscreated this whole world and our seemingly separate identities as human beings with apparent bodies, is just a disaster. Let's
mm,
be honest about it. It's a
yeah,
disaster of a thought system. It
yeah,
produces suffering, sickness, pain, death, war, poverty, disaster, all the ills of humanity. That's what causes it.
yeah,
So if you can see that, that's a huge part of the awakening.
mm,
And saying, look, we don't have the luxury anymore of indulging in this thought system because the technology that we've invented has become so powerful that the ego's insane thought system of hatred and fear and attack, you could just wipe us out.
mm,
The entire, humanity just gone, and the insects inherit the earth. That's it could happen tomorrow. If someone
mm,
pressed the wrong button,
yeah,
So we can't really mess around anymore with that same level of thinking that
Mm.
humanity stayed at for thousands of years. Oh, we just go to war. We want your territory, so we'll go and we'll go and invade you and
Yeah.
just take what we want. And, I mean that has to change,
Yeah.
because the consequences are now much greater.
Mm.
It's not just people, just the soldiers are going to lose their life. It could potentially be entire human population wiped out.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's really smart. You're supposedly so smart that you wiped yourself out in a couple of 100,000 years.
Mm.
Brilliant. Brilliant. But I don't think that's going to happen because I think the consequences are too severe. Even the likes of a Donald Trump, who's not a smart man, is going
Mm.
to go, okay, if we go into nuclear war, that's pretty much it. We're all cooked,
Mm.
literally. Like humanity, like even if you have your underground bunkers and stuff with years of food and stuff, it's
Mm.
not going to be a nice
Yeah.
existence. And eventually you are going to die because you're going to run out of food. And you're going to have to come
Sorry,
to the
my dinner
surface.
has just arrived, Jonathan. I'm just
Yeah, no problem. I'll just carry on chatting. Uh, so we don't have the luxury anymore to indulge in the ego's thought system. So we've really got to say, could we have asked before we chose to be born into this lifetime for a better nudge from the universe to awaken in the crisis we're currently facing? Could you ask for a higher purpose for your life than to become a leader of this awakening by demonstrating to everyone whose life you touch? That's the point of all of this. So you awaken not in spite of, but because of the crisis. It forces you to go deeper, forces you to find your true self, the light within you, calls you to live that more fully and truly than you would have done, calls you to express and extend it into the world, because it's obviously needed. And then, if not you, then who? Who else is going to do this? That's really the question. So all of these practices, processes that I share are there to help you to do that. You can start off with something as basic as breathing, but just breathing deeply through your nose while you focus your attention on your breath. What the Buddhists call anapanasati, which is the foundation of modern mindfulness and part of the Vipassana meditation technique, is a big start in starting to establish a different mindset and a different response to all of these challenges. As I said, it's the foundation of the modern mindfulness movement. And so just 10 minutes of breath watching twice a day can profoundly change your life and help you to start listening to this inner voice and to this call. So people are like, well, how do I do this? It all sounds a bit kind of too much and too highfalutin, and all well and good for Churchill, who was a leader at that time. But I'm just dealing with my normal everyday life situation and challenges. Well, start by doing some breathing every day, and then you start to connect with a deeper part of yourself, and the process of transformation starts. And if you start following that guidance, who knows where it will lead you. So nice. This is a nice session to listen to or watch. We talked about the breath. We talked about the true meaning of the crucifixion. We talked about the 8 limbs of yoga as a good model for structuring one's life. Um, that quote, which is worth reading again from Vimala Thakur, is very down to earth, very grounded. Archie, can you read that again?
Mm. Sorry, I've just got a mouthful.
No problem. I'll read it if you want.
No, it's okay. So,
Hmm.
unless you put the house of your life, physical and verbal structures in order, the urge for exploration of that which is beyond time and space will remain only a wish in the mind. If there is disorder in simple things of life, like diet, sleep, exercise, breathing. Trying to build a structure of exploration will be like building a house in the sand.
Mm. So, getting really practical. Yes, we can talk about
Mm.
your higher purpose in changing the world, but how do you do that? Well, you've got to build a solid foundation. You can start with the basics of life, things we do all day, every day. We breathe all the time. You eat several times a day. You sleep. You exercise maybe every day, maybe several times a week. These are all the little things that start to build a foundation on which a truly significant life that makes a difference to other people and helps in this process of awakening can be based. So it's not all grandiose and highfalutin. It's just like just get those basics right, and you're starting the process. So yeah, good session to listen to. It was an interesting combination of breath work and the true meaning of the crucifixion. And that leads us to where we are now, which is having a look at our lessons. So let's have a look at this introduction to the lesson, part of the slides that go through review. God is on our side. So if you want to read that, Archie.
Yep. So, review one, God is on our side. The key to getting comfortable with God in the course lies in a combination of three things. First, we need to grant God full personhood, not in the sense of being limited and having a body, but in the sense of being fully aware and alive, of having real thoughts and feelings. We need to think of him as a genuine agent, just a boundless one who is everywhere at once. Shall I carry on?
Yeah, maybe just discuss that. So
Yeah,
personhood, yeah, I didn't write this, so I might have expressed it differently. But what he's really saying is that this presence is real.
yeah.
This awareness, this presence is real, but it's everywhere all at the same time.
Mm,
So it's not limited to one person, one thing.
mm,
It's a real presence that's available, aware, alive, and as Jesus put it really well, the kingdom of heaven is spread out upon the earth,
mm,
but you don't see it because
mm.
it's formless. But it's what underlies all life, all awareness, all consciousness would not exist without this awareness. So it's a very real presence, although it's not tangible. You can't touch it.
Yeah,
It's what animates everything
yeah,
and gives it its life. So that's how I would rephrase it. But
yeah,
it is what it is. At some point, maybe I'll rewrite these slides, but at the moment, I don't have the time. So, and it's also interesting, I think, to see different perspectives and go, okay, so there's a perspective. How can you look at that and reinterpret it to make more sense, to be more in alignment with, let's say, the reinterpreted version of the course.
mm,
All right. So then, secondly, you can
mhm.
read that point.
Mm. Second, we need to grant God all the power and authority inherent in being, well, God. Oh, let me read that again. Second, we need to grant God all the power and authority inherent in being well, God. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so it's like a conversation.
Yeah.
Well,
Being
God, which is all
well.
powerful.
Hmm. We need to realize that He created everything, including ourselves, and that He remains in charge of what is real.
So if you translate that, maybe give that a go. Just put that into our alternative language and translate it and see how that comes out differently.
Hmm. Second, we need to grant pure, formless awareness of perfect love, all the power and authority inherent in being, well, pure, formless awareness of perfect love. We need to realize that He, or
It.
pure, or
It's
would we
really it.
say, yeah,
Yeah, it.
it
Yeah.
created everything, including ourselves, and that it remains in charge of what is real.
Yeah, and the created, we would typically change that to extends.
Mm,
It extends everything. This
yeah,
awareness just extends into every sentient being. It underlies everything. So it's not like it. The idea of created is like what it wasn't there and then it sort of came into being, but
mm,
that's not what it is.
mm,
It's the underlying life essence or awareness that has always been there that extends into every living thing, every sentient being. In fact, it underlies the whole dream. So
yeah,
even if you know uh, inorganic things like rocks and mountains and
mm,
stones and whatever else, that all underlying it has this awareness. It all has presence, awareness, God
mm,
underneath it. If you look carefully enough, and if you just strip away the attachment to form, then you start to become aware of that. And that stripping away of attachment to form is the awakening process. Once you attain that, that's what we call enlightenment.
mm,
You just see that my awareness is seeing that awareness everywhere.
mm,
So there's not really any separation. It's like one awareness seeing itself everywhere. That's the union then of the separate, seemingly separate son with the father. The mystical union is just your mind comes into that awareness of oneness. So it's not actually that mystical. It's just like it's a state of mind,
yeah.
which this awareness is calling us back to, because that's our original state of mind. That's the truth about us. All right. So thirdly, we need to realize.
Yeah. Third, we need to realize that pure formless awareness of perfect love, having full personhood and total authority, are good things because it is purely loving in a way that is far beyond our imagination. We are immeasurably better off if it is real, if it is personal, and if it possesses all authority, because it is completely on our side.
Yeah, so that personhood is problematic for me because
Yeah.
it
It's-
implies a person as
Mm,
some kind of separate person. But
mm,
if you just reinterpret that, if that has full unlimited awareness and total authority, just translate the personhood to fundamental awareness, then it
yeah,
makes more sense.
yeah.
If it is personal, so if we have a personal experience of it, might be a better way of phrasing that. So this awareness is not somewhere up in the clouds separated from us. This is very intimately felt, deeply personal to us in our experience, then it kind of makes sense, right? But a lot of this stuff needs to be translated, because it's very easy. Then you start going into an idea of God as some super being.
Mm,
You see the tendency with this kind of language. Oh, God is some super being who's there somewhere out there,
mm, yeah.
over there, separate from me, off planet, and
Yeah.
then sort of comes in and intervenes every now and then when he feels like it, and but often doesn't really, because maybe doesn't care very much about our little lives here. That's not a true picture of this awareness at all. So much better, to change the language and just say it's awareness itself that's everywhere,
Yeah.
and don't get caught up um, in in words that take you into separation. Personhood, personal, the persona, where that comes from, the mask that was used in Greek theater, that someone would then hold up the mask and say, I'm now pretending to be this persona. So it's not the truth. It's a role. It's the
Mm,
persona that you pretend to be, the ego. So that's the root of the word. But it's interesting to discuss these things and then reinterpret them, because I think it gives you a better understanding,
mm,
which is why I include these some of these slides. I'm like, Okay, but let's talk about it and translate it. Okay, and then just the last one. No matter how small or big the difficulty,
Yeah, no matter how small or big, sorry, no matter how small or how big the difficulty, it is the friend who is on our side, trying to get us out. It is like a mother who, even if she can't make everything instantly better, absolutely wills that we be free of pain.
quite a good analogy actually, because
Mm.
any mother doesn't want their child to suffer, but at the same time, sometimes that's necessary for the child's growth.
Yeah.
So when people say, "Well, why is God making me suffer?" Because sometimes you need to learn a lesson,
Mm.
and a truly sort of awakened mother is going to go, "Yeah, I'm gonna allow the child to have the experiences and learn the lessons. That might mean that they're going to experience some difficulty and some pain."
Yeah.
But I'm there to help them and support them and guide them through that process,
Yeah.
rather than trying to avoid all pain, because that's
Mm.
just not it's not realistic. I've actually had a similar conversation today, funny enough.
Yeah.
So very relevant. Everyone's got their lessons,
Mm.
children included. They came here to learn lessons, and you can't make everything wonderful for them. It's just
Mm.
that's not the way life works. They
Yeah.
have their lessons to learn, just like we all do.
Yeah.
And that's what they came to do. So why are you depriving them of the lessons that they came to learn?
Mm.
All right. So nice little intro to that. Really pointing us to this pure formless awareness
Mm.
of perfect love that transcends everything, and that's really what the lesson is primarily about. So yeah, let's dive into that, shall we? Okay. So if you can read. Do you want to read the original? You want to read the alternative? Up
Mhm.
to you.
Yep, I can read the original.
Okay.
So God goes with
Sentence by sentence. Yeah.
Yeah, God goes with me wherever I go.
Pure formless awareness of perfect love goes with me wherever I go.
How can I be alone when God always goes with me?
How can I be alone when pure formless awareness of perfect love always goes with me?
How can I be doubtful and unsure of myself when perfect certainty abides in Him?
How can I be doubtful and unsure of myself when it is perfectly certain?
How can I be disturbed by anything when He rests in me in absolute peace?
How can I be disturbed by anything when it rests in me in absolute peace?
How can I suffer when love and joy surround me through Him?
How can I suffer when perfect love and joy surround me through it?
Let me not cherish illusions about myself.
I will not cherish illusions about myself.
I am perfect because God goes with me wherever I go.
I am perfect because pure formless awareness of perfect love goes with me wherever I go.
Mm.
So, how are we on time? Maybe let's not read it again.
Yeah.
Just any comments, thoughts, questions on that?
No, I think it just sums it up in the first line, really.
Hmm.
That, pure formless awareness of perfect love goes with me wherever I go. So
Hmm.
always there.
If it's my own awareness, I think this is the key understanding. If it is really my own fundamental awareness, then it must go with me wherever I go. It
Yeah.
can't not be there because it's my own awareness. That's seemingly common sense, but so many people don't understand that. They think God is somewhere out there, off there, not with them. Hang
Mm,
on, it's your own most basic fundamental awareness, so it must be with you all the time.
mm,
Whether you like it or not, it's there. It's what
mm,
gives you fundamental awareness life
mm,
itself. So once you embrace that and you accept that, then your life becomes a whole lot easier because you're actually accepting your own true nature, your own fundamental awareness.
Mm.
Like how could you live without that, really? If that's what your fundamental awareness is, that's who you really are. The idea of living apart from that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then this just becomes common sense. Like, well, yeah, this isn't some like great mystery. It's just, yeah, if that's your own fundamental awareness, then it's going with you wherever you go, whether you like it or not. You can't ever separate from it.
Mm.
It's not possible to disconnect yourself from it because then you would cease to exist and you exist eternally. So the whole thing's a bit ridiculous to think that you could be separate from your own true awareness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy. And that's exactly what Yeshua's teaching us. It's madness. To think that you can be separate from your own fundamental awareness is a crazy idea that
Mm.
has led to all the pain and suffering that
Mm.
anyone has ever experienced. Just let go of that idea and there's no problem anymore. Well, easier said than done because that idea has now become the foundation of a whole world and a reality and an identity. But actually, it's quite simple
Mm.
once you understand what's really going on here.
Yeah.
All right. So number two, then, let's switch it.
Mm-hmm.
So I will read the original. God is my strength. Vision is his gift.
Pure formless awareness of perfect love is my strength. Vision is its gift.
So let me not look to my own eyes to see today.
I will not rely on my own eyes to see today.
Let me be willing to exchange my pitiful illusion of seeing for the vision that is given by God.
I am willing to exchange my pitiful illusion of seeing for the vision that is given by pure formless awareness of perfect love.
Christ's vision is his gift, and
My
he has
true,
given it to me.
my true self's vision is its gift to me.
Let me call upon this gift today, so this day may help me to understand eternity.
I call on this gift today to help me understand eternity.
Okay, thoughts on that?
Mm. Yeah, I haven't really got any thoughts on that.
Okay. It's just really encouraging, saying, this is my true strength, and then it's talking about vision. This is spiritual vision, intuition, opening the third eye, and you
Mm.
start seeing truly. You start seeing situations truly and perceiving things differently, correctly
Mm.
when you do this. So it's pointing to that, and that true perception is your strength.
Mm.
And and the more you do this, the more you understand eternity. When we start off in the ego has no understanding of eternity whatsoever because it's based on time.
Yeah.
But as you start doing this, you start getting more and more understanding, experiential understanding. It's like, yeah, okay, so I'm starting to feel the presence of something that is eternal, that's much deeper than my normal self and all my normal thoughts and all the drama. And the more that I experience that, the more I'm understanding this eternal awareness that is actually my true nature.
Mm.
Okay, so let's go on then to number three,
Mm-hmm.
which was originally lesson 43.
So,
So you want to switch it again?
mhm. God is my source. I cannot see apart from him.
Pure formless awareness of perfect love is my source. I cannot perceive apart from it. So taking it from just seeing to perception here.
Yeah. I can see what God wants me to see.
I can only perceive what pure formless awareness, perfect love, wants me to perceive.
I cannot see anything else.
I cannot perceive anything else.
Beyond his will lie only illusions.
Only illusions lie beyond perfect love's awareness.
It is these I choose when I think I can see apart from him.
I choose these when I think I can perceive apart from it.
It is these I choose when I try to see through the body's eyes.
I choose these when I try to see through the body's eyes.
Yet the vision of Christ has been given me to replace them.
Yet I have the perception of my true self to replace them.
It is through this vision that I choose to see.
Today, I choose to perceive truly through this vision.
Yeah.
So vision is really true perception. It's not
Yeah.
just seeing with the body's eyes.
Mm.
It's more of an interpretation. It's like taking all the sensory data that you get and then perceiving it differently, interpreting it differently.
Yeah.
That's really what vision is. Rather than, I see and then I react. Reactive ego seeing is I see and so it triggers me and I react, and there's no attempt to change that default perception.
Mm.
I just react
Yeah.
automatically
Yeah.
according to my pre-programmed pattern.
Yeah.
And that's what we've got to try and undo. That's what all these lessons are designed to help you to do. Just overcome the default tendency of the ego, which is very strong. Well, because
Mm.
you've done it a lot. We've all learned the wrong ways of thinking and reacting
Yeah.
over and over. So now that all has to be undone, and
Yeah.
that's a process. Okay. Any comments, questions, thoughts on that one?
No, that's all good.
All right. God is the light in which I see.
Pure formless awareness of perfect love is the awareness in which I perceive truly.
I cannot see in darkness.
I cannot perceive truly in negative awareness.
If you say negative, instead of saying negative, which is how we normally say it, if you
Yeah.
change it to negative, try
Yeah.
that.
I
It
can.
actually makes a difference in one's understanding. Negative means it's negating my true awareness.
Yeah. I
It's a
cannot.
negative awareness. Now it starts to make a lot of sense. It just negates anything true.
Yeah. I cannot perceive truly in negative awareness.
And then that word negative, which we just say by default, suddenly takes on a different
Mm.
quality, doesn't it, when you pronounce it differently?
Mm.
God is the only light.
Pure formless awareness of perfect love is the only awareness.
So light becomes awareness. Therefore, if I am to see, it must be through him.
Therefore, if I am to perceive truly, it must be through pure formless awareness.
I have tried to define what seeing is, and I have been wrong.
I have tried to define what seeing is, and I have been wrong.
Now it is given me to understand that God is the light in which I see.
Now I can understand that pure formless awareness of perfect love is the awareness in which I perceive truly.
Let me welcome vision and the happy world it will show me.
Could you just scroll up, please? Thank you. Now I choose to welcome this vision and the happy world it shows me.
Thoughts on that?
Um, to me, it's summed up by the second line. Pure formless awareness of perfect love is the only awareness.
Hmm,
So it's the only thing that's real.
yeah. Everything else just negates it, covers it over.
Yeah.
And so the only sane choice is to remove that negative awareness because it covers over our true awareness.
Mm.
So it's already there. You just take the covering away
Mm.
and let it go. Which is then you see why the philosophy then leads to the remedy, which is forgiveness.
Mm.
This weren't true. If it weren't already there, then forgiveness would work, but it is. It's just been covered over. So then letting go of what covers it over makes complete sense.
Mm.
The only remedy. All right. And then the last one.
Mm.
God is the mind with which I think.
Yeah. God is the mind with which I think.
The pure formless awareness of perfect love is the awareness in which I think.
I have no thoughts I do not share with God.
I have no thoughts I do not share with pure formless awareness of perfect love.
I have no thoughts apart from him because I have no mind apart from his.
I have no thoughts apart from it because I have no awareness apart from its.
As part of his mind, my thoughts are his and his thoughts are mine.
As part of its awareness, my thoughts are its and its thoughts are mine. And notice I capitalized thoughts, its thoughts, because it's coming from pure awareness.
Yeah.
And so that really then becomes the translation mechanism. My awareness, my true self, can think and help me out in this illusory world, but it's going to give me thoughts that are inspired, that are coming from a deeper place.
Yeah.
And that's true perception.
Yeah.
Is that ability to translate one reality to another that is vital to learn while we're in this world.
Yeah.
We have to learn that translation mechanism, which is what the Holy Trinity is all about: the Christ, the true self, and the true perception of the Holy Spirit are what allow you to now perceive correctly and perceive all the insanity differently. And slowly but surely, if you do that, that strengthens your connection to your true self, which is just a derivative of pure formless awareness of perfect love. And so you start awakening to
Mm.
that presence.
Mm.
Again, really, really simple. This isn't rocket science, is it?
Mm.
But it's the clearest explanation of the mind and how it really works that I've seen.
Mm.
So it's actually psychologically, a very robust and advanced theory.
Mm.
It's saying similar things to what someone like Carl Jung, in my view, is the most enlightened psychologist ever. He's really saying very, very similar things. That there's this unconscious mind, and you've got to let go of all of those programs and surface the darkness, bring it into conscious awareness, and then release it in order to come to an awareness of who you really are. He was also interestingly fascinated by Jesus and did a lot of study on him, and saw that he was a fully awakened, or as he called it, individuated
Mm.
um, a person,
Yeah.
and used that as an example of, okay, this is the ultimate expression of my teaching. If
Mm.
you followed my process, you would become like him. So there isn't really much difference between what the course is saying, what say Jungian psychotherapy is saying.
Mm.
Different language and maybe some different concepts, but it's essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I believe we're at 7 o'clock
Yes,
now,
we are.
so
So
you probably need to go.
go. Yes, thank you very much.
So yeah, short,
Yeah.
sweet session. Thank you,
Yeah.
Archie.
Yeah.
Enjoy the talk by Rupert, and I will see you next week, maybe Monday. Does that work for you?
Can I let you know, Jonathan? Yeah.
Yeah, do that.
I'll send you a WhatsApp. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Thanks, then. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye for now. Okay, so that's a wrap for today. Short, sweet session. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, then why not subscribe to the channel? I go live 2 or 3 times a week, so you can get similar videos frequently. You'll be notified whenever I go live by YouTube. And if you don't catch it live, you can watch the recording. If you enjoyed this and you'd like to go a bit deeper, head over to lifepool.com and you can there access or sign up to my Telegram group where I send out a daily inspirational quote, some related material, mind training material, kind of a blog post, a daily lesson from A Course in Miracles, similar to the one we just went through in the video, as well as short mini meditations or breath breaks to practice that lesson, usually at least one a day, sometimes more. And you'll get invitations to join these live sessions with the Zoom links. So you're welcome to join us totally free for the first 3 weeks. Check it out. But if you're inspired, take the next step and dive in. And I hope to see you on the inside of the group or in one of these live sessions soon. So thanks for watching or listening, and namaste, which means the true self in me, pure formless awareness, perfect love in me, because that's what we were talking about in my lesson. Acknowledges and honors that same pure formless awareness of perfect love in you. I'm wishing you much love, peace, and joy in that awareness.